What's going on, guys? John here from The Real Talk, finally back with another review for you guys today, and that is for Blade Runner 2049, obviously starring Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford, and it's directed by the brilliant Denis Villeneuve. And guys, as always, no spoilers for this film, so you guys are good if you haven't seen it. So my experience with this film and its predecessor, Blade Runner, the one that came out in 1982. To be honest, 2 years back, I put on that film, and I was like, I had to turn it off. I couldn't get into it. But today, before going to see the new one on 2049, I put on the first one and I watched it. And I had my experience with it. I don't think it's a bad film. I don't hate it or anything. I think it's an okay film. But it just, for me, it's not all there. You know, it's not like, oh my God, this is like one of the best films. And I know a lot of people feel that way, and that's fine. Like, I respect that. You know, I'm not saying, oh, you know, this is stupid or anything, but for me, it just, you know, couldn't get into it. But with that being said, I honestly was excited for this film because of one thing, and that is Denis Villeneuve. He's been just killing it lately. I love Prisoners. I love The Arrival. I haven't seen Sicario or Enemy yet, but I heard nothing but good things about him, and I have Sicario, just haven't watched it. But for me, Denis Villeneuve can do no wrong. So I was very excited for this film, and I'm happy to say that I really enjoyed this film, guys. But I did have one negative with it, and that is that for me, towards the middle-ish, kind of towards the end-ish, the movie just drags a little bit. You know, it takes place in this kind of place that kind of a little bit too much for me. A little bit, for my opinion. Again, it's a nitpick. But let's get to my positives. And again, guys, Denis Villeneuve is the man. I mean, if he directed it, from the most part, from everybody, what everybody's been saying, Prisoners, I believe he did one more other film too before Prisoners. I'm not quite sure what it is though. But anyways, Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, and Blade Runner 2049. What is he doing next? I think he's directing Dune. But he's directed 5 great films from what I've heard so far. So, man, Denis Villeneuve is kind of up there already with like Christopher Nolan, David Fincher, all these like modern, real great directors. But man, he has an eye for what he wants to do. His vision is very clear and unique in this film, and I thought he did a fantastic job with it. From everything from the acting, the cinematography, the score, everything that he kind of had envisioned, I feel like he was able to accomplish that and then some. So I had to mention him in my positives. Mr. Roger Deakins, my God, he is a god in the cinematography world, but he just does it again, knocks it out of the freaking park, guys. When I was watching this movie, I think it was a bit after the first scene, the first little set piece scene. I don't want to give too much away, but I was like, okay, well, what do you think so far, man? Like, what are your thoughts? It looks beautiful. And I did not want to take my eyes off it for 1 second, guys. This movie was beautiful. The color schemes, the way it was shot, just every single shot was like a master stroke for Mr. Roger Deakins. And he's done some incredible work in the past, and this one is no different. So for me, the cinematography has to be a huge plus. Moving on to the score, Mr. Hans Zimmer can do no wrong, and also Benjamin Wallfisch, I think that's how you say his last name. They knocked it out of the park with this score, guys. Especially because I seen this movie in AMC Dolby Cinemas, and it just, the sound in that, just amazing. The whole, like, your whole seat shakes and stuff like that. So obviously, I always say that cinematography and the score go hand in hand for me, and it just made this movie come to life. And then, like, when the movie ended, I did not want to leave because I wanted to stay there and listen to it. And actually, when I got back to my car, I downloaded it right away. So I can see this being one of my favorite scores of the year. And like I said, just Hans Zimmer and Benjamin Wallfisch, they just knocked it out of the park, and I had to mention that in my positives. Moving on to the story and the characters and the acting, guys. The story for me, you know, made me appreciate the first one a little bit more, because without the first one, obviously you can't have the continuation to that story leading on to this story within itself, and also the characters and some of the I don't want to give too much away, but just the characters from this film as alone had some great story arcs. You know, even the themes and the messages, you know, coming across from this film, even like from Replicants, you know, they make you connect to these characters and kind of really make you care for them, and kind of in that sense, they make you ask yourself some questions and stuff like that, and kind of provoke a lot of thinking. And At least that's what I got from this story, guys, and these characters. So with that being said, the acting was really well done as well. Ryan Gosling has just been knocking out of the park lately. He's just a great actor. Ever since The Notebook, I believe he was like in this TV series back in the days when he was. But anyways, he's been a really solid actor lately, and obviously Harrison Ford has been really great too. It was really cool to see Dave Bautista in there too, for the time that he was in the film, and kind of seeing that his. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but guys, I really like this story. The characters and the acting was really well done too. So I had to say that in my positives. And like I said, just also Jared Leto. I can't forget about him. He plays the antagonist in this film. And just, the way, I believe if they just used his voice, that would have been menacing enough. But yeah, guys. All that being said, let's go on to my overall thoughts. Overall, guys, this film was great. And I really, really enjoyed it. And just caught me off guard because coming on from the first one, I felt like it was kind of eh. And I thought, you know what, like maybe this is just gonna please those fans, but no, I feel like they just try to make this movies not as standalone. They didn't try to forget about the first one, but they made it so like if you haven't seen the first one, you can still understand and follow the story. But they did have a lot of subtle hints and stuff like that. I don't want to give too much away again from the first one. So with all that being said, guys, all the positives, I have to give Blade Runner 2049 an 8.5 out of 10, guys. I was going to give it an 8. I have it written down right here, but just thinking about this film more and more and more, I was like, you know what? I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. So with that being said, guys, I highly recommend it. Go check it out if you can this weekend, and let me know your thoughts. But if you guys have seen it already, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. And guys, as always, if you want to follow me outside of YouTube, you guys can on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Talk with 2 Ks. And as always, I'll see you at the movies. Later, guys.